this is Debbie again, your immigration consultant based in Surrey, BC. So we're doing a live session again today to discuss the recent changes sa LMIA. And I know a lot of people are affected sa mga recent changes, and I think it's really important if mahimay-himay natin, especially those who are affected by the changes. So let's start. Balikan lang natin kung ano yung recent updates, and if you have questions, feel free to use the comment section. I'll be reading all your comments. Okay? So, noong September 26, 2024, na-update yung LMIA processing. IRCC has announced na yung mga jobs na yung mga CMA or mga metropolitan cities na is medyo mataas yung unemployment rate, hindi na sila eligible to apply for an LMIA. So that was on September 26, 2024. And then a month after, naglabas na naman sila ng announcement na yung tataasan na ng 20% yung median wage ng mga provinces. This is para saglit lang po ha, kasi medyo maingay dito. Hindi ako makapag-concentrate. Saglit lang. Hey, can you tone it down, please? Thank you. Sorry, just one sec here. Can you tone it down? Medyo maingay. Okay, sorry. So as I was saying, yung noong November, starting November 7, or starting ngayon, only those employers na ang offer wage is around, kung nasa BC, around $34.62 are allowed to apply for an LMIA for some people. So, parang pinahigpit lalo ang processing ng LMIA so that lahat ng mga employers na hindi willing and hindi able to apply or to offer a $34 or above the median wage of the province will be subject to a stricter LMIA conditions, ng low-wage LMIA. So, ayun po yung pinaka-sad news. And ano ba yung kailangan na median wage na ng mga provinces, no? So, for Alberta, starting today, kailangan ang median wage na i-offer for an LMIA to be considered allowed under the low or allowed under the high wage would have to be at least $35.40. Sa Manitoba, dapat $30. Sa BC, dapat $34.62. Sa New Brunswick, dapat $28.85. Newfoundland and Labrador, it's $31.20. In Northwest Territories, it's $47.09. Nova Scotia, it has to be at least $28.80. In Nunavut, it has to be $42. Ontario, it has to be $34.07. Prince Edward Island, it has to be $28.80. Quebec has to be $32.96. Saskatchewan is $32.40. And for Yukon, it's $43.20. So, if the employer is not willing to apply or to provide a $35.40 na job wage, halimbawa sa Alberta, then the employer is subject to the low wage LMIA. So kapag sa low wage LMIA subject ng employer nasa province siya or nasa city siya na ang unemployment rate is above 6%, then the employer is not eligible to apply for an LMIA. Okay? So, ayun po siya. So, medyo mahirap na. So, ano-ano ba yung um, mga employers na nasa industry ang exempted sa cap? Di ba, we've mentioned na ang cap for or the unemployment rate has to be at least below 6% in order for you to be, or in order for the employer to apply for an LMIA for his or her worker, right? So, ano-ano ba yung mga exempted na mga industry na hindi sila subject sa cap? So, those industries are yung parang walang cap would be industries in construction, yung NAICS, so the North American Industry Classification System, na isang business has to be in the construction side para exempted sila sa cap. Another thing is also if they are in manufacturing, NAICS 311, hospitals, mga nursing and residential care facilities, mga specific in-home caregiver position. So if they offer a job or if the employer is offering a position na registered nurse or maybe registered psychiatric nurse, licensed practical nurse, home child care providers, attendant for persons with disabilities, live-in caregivers, and personal care attendants. So, if halimbawa, para clear lang tayo, kung halimbawa, ang employer is nasa construction business, and ang i-offer niya halimbawa is, kung nasa BC, is below $34.62. So, ang employer na yan can still apply for an LMIA kasi they are, because they are exempted doon sa mga sa cap or doon sa low wage LMIA. So kahit pa halimbawa in Vancouver, ang employer ay nasa Vancouver, tapos we know that in Vancouver the unemployment rate is more than 6%, kahit pa ganun ang situation, but if the employer would be hiring, let's say, an electrician or maybe a laborer, but since nasa construction industry sila, then the employer is still eligible to apply for an LMIA. Pero, may pero po yun, kailangan ang employer can only apply for an LMIA kung ang PFW niya is less than 20%. Okay? So, kung halimbawa, si employer, mag-hire siya ng laborer nasa, let's say, nasa BC, tapos ang sahod is like $25, dapat i-check niya yung buong, halimbawa, meron siyang employees na 20 katao. And we know that 20%, ano ba yung 20% ng 20, so that's 4. So, halimbawa, ang employer mag-hire ng meron siyang 20 employees. So, dapat, ang eligible na pwede niya i-hire na PFW lang is 4. So, i-check niya sa workforce niya if meron siyang halimbawa 4 na TFW na, then the employer is no longer eligible to apply for an LMIA. Okay? I hope that is clear. Sorry, medyo medyo naguluhan earlier. And then, paano malalaman kung ano ba yung unemployment rate ng isang city? Right? So, I have a list here. So, in, ano ba yung mga dito? Yung mga unemployment rate na mataas sa 6%, I will have to mention na lang. So, we have St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador. We have Quebec. And by the way, Quebec has stopped processing LMIAs altogether. And then, we have Oshawa, Ontario, Toronto, Ontario, Hamilton, We also have Kitchener, Brantford, Gulf, London, or sorry, ang Gulf pala is 5.9 lang. So we have London, Windsor, um, we also have Winnipeg. So sa Winnipeg, hindi pwede mag-process ng LMIA unless hindi subject sa, sa refusal to process. Regina as well, mas mataas, 6.7 ang unemployment rate ng Regina. We have Calgary, Edmonton, 8.7 ang unemployment rate ng Edmonton. Abbotsford, Vancouver, 6.5%. And then Victoria is 3.9. So, doon sa mga cities na yon or mga towns na nabibilong sa doon sa group of metropolitan group na yon, then the employer is not eligible to apply for an LMIA unless subject sila to an exemption. Okay? So, ayun po, medyo pahirap ang pagkuha ng LMIA, and specifically doon sa, I think, doon sa mga medyo populated na city and then mataas yung unemployment rate, medyo talagang mahirap. So if you are DFW, tapos looking to apply for an LMIA pa lang or to extend your stay, maybe the thing that you can do is try to get into other provinces or other cities or other towns na mas mababa pa yung um, unemployment. Yung unemployment rate na nabanggit ko kanina, it is subject to change. So, this is from October 11 to January 9, 2025. So, we will be expecting na in January 10, ESDC will be posting another unemployment rate. So they will update it. So maybe some other cities na dati is mas mataas yung unemployment rate, hopefully in the coming months, in January, it will be better. Right? So, ayun po. Hopefully nakatulong yon para medyo maintindihan natin kung ano ba yung possible na pwede natin gawin. So, I'll be entertaining questions na po. Pero I will only be entertaining questions regarding LMIA para maano natin. Para we can use Nikki kasi ang dami din baka may mga questions na non-related to LMIA. We will not be able to answer those questions. Okay? Fairly said, I have an application at PNP Pool. I received an ITA already, but my wife's work permit extension with LMIA was refused. I'm afraid that my PNP nomination can be affected. So, I'm not sure kung sino ba yung, you have an ITA, so I'm assuming this is an BCPNP. So, kung nasa BCPNP pool ka, and then you were the principal applicant, yeah, so, I'm assuming hindi ikaw. Kumbaga, ikaw yung principal applicant ng BCPNP application, then even if your wife's work permit extension was refused, but since you are the principal applicant, it will not affect your BCPNP file, not as much, pero you check the minimum wage requirement nung kung nasa ang city ka, kasi that could impact your application. Yun lang yung nakikita ko, but otherwise, kung sa ano lang, like makaka-apekto ba siya in general sa BCPNP application, I don't think so. Okay? Affected po ba yung LMI application na hindi pa approved pero applied last July? It's not affected kasi if you submitted the application already before the announcement, so like noong September 26 and November 7 na nag-take effect, then I believe hindi ka affected. And then what else here? Hello po from Jamie. Affected po ba ang PR support LMIA, no work permit sa changes ng high stream? Yes, it is affected. So, yung mga PR LMIA na nakaprocess, they are also subject to the low-wage LMIA. So, ibig sabihin, if hindi pa nasasubmit yung application and if the employer is not eligible doon sa mga exemption, then subject na po sila sa PR support LMIA. Pero halimbawa, meron kasing two ways of getting an LMIA. So one is to ang LMIA to support a work permit, and then the other one is an LMIA to support the PR. Yung, alam niyo yung kapag mag-a-apply ka lang for an LMIA para makakuha ng 50 points na additional sa express entry profile niyo. So, di ba normally, when you apply for an LMIA, or an employer is applying for an LMIA, ang common notion or ang common knowledge natin is the LMIA, after the LMIA, you will have to apply for a work permit, right? So, yun yung parang regular way of doing an LMIA. Pero there's also another way of applying for an LMIA. So, this is what we call LMIA to support the PR application of your worker. So, sa ganitong stage, sa ganitong type ng pag-a-apply ng LMIA, hindi na kailangan magbayad ng 1,000 ng 1,000 Canadian dollars ang employer. And kapag na-approve ang LMIA, it will not result or the worker will not be able to apply and will not be eligible to apply for a work permit. Okay? So, yun po yun. If the employer chose this PR or if the employer chose this type of LMIA application na to support the PR application lang to get the additional 50 points, so si employer is eligible and is not subject to the restrictions ng low-wage LMIA. So I hope that is clear. Medyo complicated siya in a bit, pero yun po. If halimbawa ikaw ay may status na, let's say hanggang 2026, PGWP holder ka and you still have a status open work permit until 2026. So, ang kailangan mo lang is the 50 points para maging eligible ka for an express entry, para maging fund ka sa express entry. So, my suggestion is to tell your employer or to request your employer to apply for an LMIA to support your PR application para makakuha ka ng additional 50 points. Again, it will not result to a work permit, pero that LMIA alone, it's valid for 6 months. So within that 6 months, dapat na-invite ka na sa express entry para meron kang additional 50 points. So yun lang po yun. LMIA to support your PR application. Tapos dito, how about for extension only closed permit? Pa rin ba median salary to grant LMIA? Unfortunately, yes, even if you have an existing work permit already, but you know how it is na kapag mag-a-apply ka ng extension and then wala ka pang pending PR application, then your only way is to apply for, or your only way is for an employer, yung employer mo dapat mag-provide ng another LMIA. So, if hindi pa nakapag-apply si employer, then the employer will be subject for doon sa mga restrictions na nabanggit natin kanina. Okay. How about for extension? So, Rabanus is asking if Lethbridge grant LMIA better than Vancouver. I'm not really sure. I don't have the files with me, pero I'm assuming, like, if in general terms lang, like, generally speaking, si Vancouver kasi, they are no longer eligible. Like, with the current unemployment rate, they are not eligible to apply for an LMIA. So, I guess Lethbridge is a better option. Shout out Ma'am kay Raymond Balcos. And Mary Grace Mendoza is asking what is the employment rate. I think unemployment rate is ang tinatanong niya. So the unemployment rate in Langley is same lang sa Vancouver. So it's 6.5. Unfortunately, you will not be able to ask your employer to apply for an LMIA unless the employer is exempted. Kapag LMIA holder po ba, pwede pa din mag-sponsor as open work permit ang spousal na nasa Pinas? Yes, there is an announcement na in the coming months, only professional and managerial positions ang eligible to apply for a spousal open work permit. But as of today, wala pa rin guideline as to when it will start and what will be the guidelines. So yes, you are still able to apply for your spousal open work permit. Approve LMIA, then get refused for work permit nung nag-flag polling. Only option na lang po ba is to apply for a work permit outside Canada. You can try flag polling again. If wala namang removal order, then I guess it's fine. But if meron ng, you were only refused once and there was no removal order, then I guess it's fine. Pero yeah, I think it would be better if mag-a-apply na lang ng work permit from outside Canada. I'm guessing you're a temporary visitor ka dito. So I guess your only option is to apply from outside. Hello po, LMIA approved na po ako. Submitted my application last July. I also have my work permit extension. In this case po, may possibility pa rin ba na ma-refuse? You have to understand this. Sa immigration naman kasi, wala talagang guaranteed, right? Like, even if you submit you think, you feel na strong yung application mo, but, the officers are, kumbaga, ang decision ng officer, it lies to the officer pa din. Subject pa rin tayo ng officer, ng discretion nila, and then it's up to them to decide. So even if you hire a consultant, a lawyer, or even if you feel that you have a solid application, there is still a chance na mararefuse yung application mo. But I guess ang kailangan na lang talagang gawin is you make sure that when you apply for something, you make sure that you know what you're doing and you presented your application in such a way na no stones are left unturned. Okay? So, yun na lang po yung masasabi ko with regards to that. Hello po, pag natapos po ba ang closed work permit, ano po ba ang pwedeng options para magstay pa sa Canada? This is a good question. So, kapag natapos na yung closed work permit, ano ba yung option to stay in Canada? So, there's 3 things na pwede mong gawin. Actually, there's 4. So, i-discuss natin very, So, first is, ang ayokong gawin mo, and this should be your last resort, is to extend your stay here as a visitor. So, mag-change kayo ng status from a work permit to a visitor status. Yun yung parang last option nyo dapat. Second is, if meron ka ng ending PR application, you can apply for a work permit extension under a bridging open work permit or maybe under a T13 exemption if you have a donation from a province. Ayun po yung pwede mong option. And then some other provinces, there is a public policy na existing, like in Alberta, in Manitoba, and I forgot the other one. Yukon. So, for those provinces, kapag naka-apply ka na ng PNP, nasa na, then you're eligible to pwede kang mag-apply for a work permit extension under that public policy. Okay, and then third one is you can study here. So from a work permit status, you can apply for a student permit. That's another option na pwede mong i-explore. And this is actually better option. This is a good alternative for those na mga bata pa, below 30 years old, may dating LMIA, and then now they just needed to boost their parang Canadian education credentials. So yun, that's a good option. And then finally, parang yun na yun. Extend your stay here as a visitor. You can study and then you can apply for a work permit extension under kung meron kayong pending PR application. At saka, lastly pala, is to find another job. So, explore other employers. Baka meron kayong makitang another LMIA to other provinces or other cities na less populated and mas mababa ang unemployment rate. Okay? So, I'm on my PGWP, willing po magbigay ng LMIA ang employer ko. I am a registered nurse. Pwede kaya yun para to extend your stay. Are you a registered nurse here in Canada? Because if you are a registered nurse in Canada, then there are plenty of options for you. I suggest you do an initial consultation with me. We will figure this out. Pero dapat, if you're a registered nurse, ang dami mong options to explore. So, dapat nagpa-process ka na ng PR mo. But if you're a registered nurse in the Philippines, then there are a bunch of things that you will have to go through. Does it show there LMIA PR? But I'm not sure what you're asking, Jen. Then, how about the unemployment rate in Langley? I think I answered this question already. How about po sa mga wages for healthcare? May 20% po ba sa wages? Yes, there is. Subject sa 20% ang healthcare occupations, if that's what you're asking. Pero because they are exempted, di ba, exempted yung mga some other healthcare occupations. So, pwede ka pang pwede pa rin mag-apply ng LMIA. Pa-shoutout kami ng tropa ko, Eric Kamba. Hi, Hennessy. And then, hi po, if we are currently temporary residents and we volunteer in daycare centers as ECE, volunteering is not counted as Canadian experience and it will not be counted sa PR points nyo. Okay? Paano po yung spouse na andito na and mag-a-apply pa lang for open work permit affected po ba sa changes? Again, as I've said earlier, not yet, but in the coming months, potentially yes. Hello, husband ko, journeyman, na siya dito sa Edmonton, heavy equipment mechanic. Kailangan po ba niya manghingi ng LMIA sa company? Again, if you're exploring, depende po kasi yan sa profile nyo. If you are in Edmonton and if si husband is siya ba yung open work permit? Or kung journeyman na siya, meron na siyang trade certificate, I have to know more information as to regards to your husband's file. So, I suggest we do a one-to-one consultation so we can explore your options. Pag po ba mag-expire na ang LMIA and not willing na yung employer, I'm sorry. Not willing na si employer to release a new LMIA and still waiting for PNP for PR, ano po pwede mangyari? So, kung hindi na willing si employer to support an LMIA, and then when you say waiting for PNP, meron na bang nakasubmit na application? I mean, if you are in BC, or in Alberta, or in Ontario, did you receive an invitation to apply already? Because if that's the case, then there can be some options that we can explore. Okay? Asking for a friend. Ask your friend to consult with me. We can do an initial consultation. I'll just do 2 more because I'm trying to, we just do parang 30 minutes, but I promise you guys we will do another session. I might do this weekly lang kasi hindi kaya ng time. Pero yeah, I'll try my best to do this as often as I can. Okay? From Laurie Lee, is LMIA applicable for occupation in a healthcare-related field. Tapos, NGO ang setting ng employer and for high-wage category. Currently, an IS and thought of asking for an employer for an LMIA. Di pa nila nagagawa then, kasi first immigrant worker pa lang nila ako so far. Okay. So, for an NGO, baka hindi na kailangan mag-apply for an LMIA kasi you have some other NGOs kasi they are eligible to apply um, uh, for an LMIA exempt work permit. So, explore that option too. And then, if your employer needs help with, navigating this and that, reach out to me directly para makapag-usap tayo. Hello po, ma'am. Pag sa therapy, ba ang work experience sa food counter, same lang siya sa BCP and B scoring. This is not related to the LMIA topic, pero I'll answer this. For interior PC, doon ka nag-work, hindi siya subject to a point system. You will be under health authority. But the problem is, currently, mga health authorities are only supporting those occupations, yung mga workers ng occupations nila are clinical occupations. So, I'm not sure with interior health, but you check with your HR or your talent acquisition officer and ask if potentially they can support your application. Okay? And Regia Philord said registered nurse here in Canada. Regia, if you are a registered nurse in Canada, ang daming pathways for you. So, I suggest you book a one-on-one consultation with me kasi baka you're missing the entire opportunities for you, KPR opportunities. And lastly, this is the last questions. Ano yung pagkakaiba ng low-wage LMIA and high-wage LMIA? Sorry, hindi pala natin na-discuss to. For low-wage LMIA, ang kaibahan nun is the median wage. Okay? To make it simpler. So, kung ang median wage, ang offered rate ng isang employer is the same or above sa set na median wage ng province, then ang occupation and ang LMIA application is under high-wage LMIA. Pero kung below, then that will be under low-wage LMIA. Diba? Ang sasabihin ko ulit, yung kung ano ba yung mga wage threshold ng province. So in Alberta, makukonsider na high-wage LMIA ang isang LMIA application kung ang sahod na ibibigay sa'yo ng employer is $35.40 or above. Okay? In British Columbia, it's $34.62. In Manitoba, it's $30. In New Brunswick, it's $28.85. In Newfoundland, $31.20. Northwest Territories, it's $47.09. Nova Scotia, it's $28.80. Nunavut, it's $42. Ontario, it's $34.07. PEI, it's $28.80. Quebec is $32.96. Saskatchewan, it's $32.40. And in Yukon, it's $43.20. Ayun po. I'm sorry I cannot take all your questions. I can't answer your questions kasi it's past 6 na and it's 33 minutes na tayo naka-live. But as I promised, I'll be trying to do this on a weekly basis. So hopefully this would, help everyone of our kababayans who are struggling and are really confused sa applications nila for PR. But then again, guys, thank you so much for joining me today and